Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Roast here with Jessica Bun Bun. This is our Monsieur Spade Season 1, Episode 6 reaction and review. It is the finale.
Oh.
The case has been closed, everybody. Now, Spade is left to strip down and swim in his pool forever. We know what happened, I guess.
I really like that explanation of why he does that
Yeah.
and sort of that flashback to him and Gabrielle and sort of like where she realized she was really sick and she didn't want to die in that way, slow and long with him, that she wanted to be able to go out the way that she wanted and that this pool was sort of this memory. And she was just like, anytime you want to see me, you can come on down to this pool. I was like, oh my goodness, this show is so good.
Yeah, it was a really, I think, emotional finale in that way. It gave us a lot of closure when it comes to everything that has happened to Sam Spade when it comes to a lot of this. I think that there is still a setup if they do want to do a season 2 of this. I don't know if you keep it in Bazul. I don't know if you move it somewhere else, but I think there's a lot that is going on there when it comes to sort of planting some seeds. And then there is closure to the big Zaid mystery that we have been going through for much of this season. And wow.
Is there or isn't there? Who's Virginia Dell? She just showed up in this finale out of nowhere. Virginia from Canada being like, yeah, I know you and you and you and you and you guys don't know me, but I'm now going to take this kid.
And
I was just like, what?
it gave also the tremendous line of "You're as Canadian as sweet potato pie" at one point. It is just like, what is this finale? What is this ending? There's a little bit of chaos in here.
There's so much chaos in here. There are people that are being brought back from the beginning. There's the monk, Father Morgan showing up for no reason. Listen, there was a lot of stuff that I absolutely loved about this finale, but that last bit with everybody and all the chaos that was going on, and then all of a sudden George is a double agent and he's with Gazala, and the mother's running him over. I was just like, what is happening? This is such chaos. So some of it I really liked. Some of it I was just like, everybody put on your hard hats, because there was some of it that I did not like.
All right, well, we will get into all of this. We'll break everything down. We'll set the stage for what could be coming. But go ahead, hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss any of the other coverage we have here at the channel. And that includes our review of the True Detective Night Country finale that is also happening tonight. And we're so excited to discuss that as well.
All right, where do you want to start with all this?
I think we have to start with the chaotic fracas, the dog pile of various people who we've seen all season, because this reminded me slightly of like Columbo, where at the end of the episodes of Columbo is just always like, here's what happened. And I'm sorry, Columbo, I don't think it would sound like that, but kind of going through the whole recounting. But a lot of times in these sort of big reveal moments at the end of murder mysteries, you have a lot of people together, and there was something kind of funny to me, and I don't know if this was intentionally funny, this just may be my fault, about seeing like all of these stooges just in like one place together, where it's like, oh, here's Philippe, he's here. Oh, here's George's mom, who is not really George's mom, who has like 30 different names, is here. It's just, here's this whole random group of people who you've been seeing all season, finally in the same room together. Well, Virginia Dell, and I'm going to try to read out her official title, which is not even really real.
It's not even really real.
Retired Lieutenant Colonel in Canadian Special Operations Forces Command and current Undersecretary General of the United Nations Council of Peacetime Conflict Resolution.
Sure, Virginia.
Here's an idea if you want people to really believe that you are what you say you are. Just come up with like 20 random words that you can throw on after yourself, and people will just get so tired of listening to you that they'll just eventually believe it.
Okay, so I already have on my hard hat. Yeah. I did not enjoy Virginia coming in here and having everyone, start pointing everyone out. We don't have any relationship with her. We don't really know what's going on. We don't even know what she really is, who she's really working for. We don't know anything about her, which made it feel very weird that, a child who's so valuable ends up going with a complete stranger. And I know that she ends up, whistling that same tune at the end to get him to trust her. But at the same time, I mean, Philippe was whistling that tune and nobody should be trusting him, right? So it's just kind of like, who is she and why was she there? For me, I was kind of excited to see everybody in the same room. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, we're gonna have a straight up like reveal thing, except for Father Morgan. Listen, I really like that actor, but there was no he was in it for like a minute at the beginning of this, and then he just didn't really need to be there anymore. I'm sorry, but this needed to be Sam Spade. I'm sorry, but it did. For me, it needed to be him being like, you're involved like this, you're involved like this is how this is revealed, that's how you can leave, you're not needed, you can leave, Mr. Khan, like I was like, oh my goodness, you can leave, and then Philippe, you're going to be arrested, so you can just go off with that officer there. I really wanted it to be Sam's sort of like moment in the sun, because he's had some stumbles this season. He's had some good stuff this season as far as like getting to the meat of everything that's going on. This show's about him and him as a detective, one of the, world's best detectives. So for me, it had to be Sam or nobody. It didn't need to be a stranger who came in and lied about who she was and then took the kid.
Yeah, it's so weird is that I enjoyed the scene. I thought it was fun to have everybody together there, but
yes,
at the same time,
yes.
I guess to go along with what you're saying.
Except for Father Morgan.
Okay, I will say this about Father Morgan.
He did not need to be there.
I appreciated the fact that we got to finally know that Father Morgan is not actually a father, because I'm not taking a lot of W's with this finale, but I'm taking the W that man is not a priest.
I know.
He looks nothing like a priest. He looks like he came from the gym. I'm glad that we have closure.
Father Protein Shake.
Yeah, Father Protein Shake has been figured out that he may very well be CIA. So I appreciate Dean Winters being there just for that sole purpose alone. And like, I enjoyed a lot of it, but at the same time, I am sort of being like, okay, how much of the rest of the show mattered when you just have a random character sort of showing up here who isn't really who she says she is in the first place, and we still don't really know now where Zaid is heading off to. Like, and maybe this was unrealistic on some level, and maybe there's actually no real resolution or point to it, but I kind of wanted Zaid to end up with Marguerite, because I felt like she would take care of him. She's gone through a lot. She lost Jean-Pierre. I think she wouldn't have some sort of nefarious purpose, because it feels like everybody else with Zaid, they all just want something from this boy, and it's never been about his self-interest. And obviously, I really would have liked Zaid to make the decision that's right for himself, but he is just a young boy, and he may not be able to be privy to that sort of decision at this point.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen him with Marguerite, but he was never going to be safe. Like, as everybody in that room wanted a piece of him, and if they knew where he was or that he was still out there, people were never going to stop. That's why it was like, okay, I just didn't know how they were going to wrap that up. Where was he going to go where he was going to actually be able to be safe?
I guess the good thing here is that because we don't know who Virginia really is or who she works for, nobody's going to be able to, I guess, technically find him, though at the same time, it's a big question. Is he still going to be in good hands at the end of all of this?
Who knows who she is?
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, okay, she came in and was basically like, I have info on all of you, so I'm the only person that's, capable of taking him. It was very odd.
I will say my favorite moment, perhaps, of the entire finale was hearing Sam basically say, "Go bleep yourself" at one point to someone. I was just like, Clive Owen was on it in this entire finale. Like, he was funny, he was emotional, he's cursing people out. This everything I wanted from at least him, minus, of course, him having a larger role in the big reveal at the end of the show.
Him cursing out Henri and the whole reveal of the motorcycle, and that it was him that, sent that warning shot through the car and everything going. He just tore him a new one. It was so good.
I don't think any of us are like shocked here that Henri is affiliated with OAS or has some other thing. Like, there's been a lot of evidence of this for a long time, and we sort of had speculated for a while that whoever was on that motorcycle had a pretty slender build, and it felt like it was somebody who could be him. And so, like, there's nothing that jaw-dropping about it. Obviously, he's been creeping around Teresa. He's been around. It's, once again, almost every single person on this show wants something, is spying for X, Y, and Z reasons. We only have a tiny group of people who we can consider at this point to be pure within the Monsieur Spade world.
It was nice also to see that Teresa realizes that she's older than she thought she was. It was nice to see that scene at the end where he's like, you can stop calling me Mr. Spade. You can just call me Sam. And they both put on their sunglasses. I'm like, yes, let's have next adventures with the two of them. It was so cute.
That's moment is one of the things that makes me the most excited about if they ever choose to bring this show back. Like, nothing has been, confirmed or reported about at the time that we're recording this. It felt like they sort of designed this to be a one season thing, but clearly I think in this finale they left the door open to a number of different things. Like,
Yes.
the idea of Sam and Teresa perhaps working together more, and that Sam has like a true partner in some of this, or even if she's not a full partner, he can be a mentor to her. He can help her sort of find the ways of crime solving. Also, there are people who are still out there, like, Gazala's presumably still out there. Who knows if she's going to cause any trouble or whatever else, but
She got what she wanted. She wanted the money. She threw the money over the side of the bridge. She jumped in the water. What else is there for her, right? I mean, yeah, she was seemingly, it was a bit dark, so it was hard to see, but she's seemingly having like this affair with, George right before his mother like ran him over because he's a double agent or whatever. It was like, okay, listen. There was too much going on in this finale that just didn't need to happen. Like George being this like double agent, and he's like having this like romance and be like, oh, we can be out, in the open in a little bit. Are you sure he doesn't know anything? Oh yeah, he knows nothing. It's all good. And the mother running him over. I was just like, this didn't need to be put in here. You guys had so much going on that it would have been totally fine if you just had George in the room too.
I wish ultimately.
Or he took a stray or something, like it didn't have to be quite like that.
I laughed. I don't know if I was supposed to laugh, but I thought it was funny. I was just like, George, you suck. You're a dum-dum. I'm kind of glad this happened to you because you were terrible as a spy. You're also...
I understand, but it was just it felt like it was kind of like just shoved in there as this storyline that just didn't need to be there.
Well, that is kind of my point too, because it's like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be laughing at that. Like, that's sort of the thing. It felt like it was probably trying to make itself more serious than I ultimately took it as, because that whole sequence, and I think really maybe the solution here was you guys just do another episode.
Yes, and this needed another episode.
Yeah, because it was all, and I know this was a little bit of a longer finale than we've tended to see for every episode, but it still felt like there was just so much crammed in that we were like going from one moment to one moment to one moment, and like the entire nighttime sequence, which involved like 800 different people with weapons, all firing at each other,
Crazy, though.
It was
so chaotic.
It was so chaotic, and it was so fun, but it was also so chaotic, and it was so dark at times, and I had a really hard time. Like, I had a hard time thinking, like, who is George with at that point? Is this just some random woman who has shown up who we've never seen before? It's like, I had such a hard time with kind of looking and seeing what was happening that, like, I just started to laugh because it was just all so crazy and so over the top.
It was so crazy that I started to laugh by the time the monk showed up. I'm like, are you serious? Like, why? Why does this monk need to show back up again? I know you were kind of like, the thing that happened with the nuns in our last review is kind of like, that just, got kind of just glossed over. It's just like this big thing happened, and then all of a sudden there was nothing else with it. But you got your wish. The monk showed back up with the doll head knife for Teresa, and it was just like, for why? Why are you here? What you are doing here?
I wanted more relevancy when it comes to the nuns. I did not want it like that. I was not suggesting in the last video, Monsieur Spade producers, you bring back the monk who's just suddenly like, I am back. And then you see him. And
for what reason?
Yeah, it was just like, okay, I had never no attachment to the monk whatsoever. I still barely understand who the monk is really working for at this point, because you guys never really went back into that either, which I guess, once again, good on you for leaving enough open that you could explore things more moving forward. But, I could have used more now. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think that this finale could have been a lot tighter if they just like dropped the mug. Dean Winters did not need to come back as Father
I
Protein
don't know.
Shake. I didn't need to see that. It just didn't matter. That whole like thing with George in the alleyway and getting run over, this double agent that's all of a sudden just come out of nowhere, that could have been pulled out. And there could have been a little more time with the big reveal at the end if they just got rid of Virginia and let Sam Spade cook.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would have been mad at that. I don't think anybody would be upset. It's like, okay, we finally get Sam Spade in his element after everything that he has done the entire season. But I think the largest question coming out of all of this, and I guess this is a pretty big determining factor now in season 2, really, it's just, is Sam Spade now happy? Like, is he going to just spend, the rest of his day swimming in his pool, living a relaxing life? Because a lot of what he sort of went through this season was a lot of reluctance to be a part of this case. He didn't want anything to do with it. He kind of continuously found himself roped into it. But now that he's done it, and now that he has a little bit more closure, and he kind of realizes more that Teresa, is his daughter, like, does any of that now change? Like, does he have a reason to move forward and maybe act differently than he has?
This ended with him putting that hat back on. I think he's back in. Do you guys think he's back in? Yes or no? Do you think he's back in?
I do.
Yeah.
I want to be as confident with it as you are. He
put that hat back on, man. He put the box away, but he took the hat on. He was down there with nothing but that.
I know. I was about to say, why are you taking off your drawers and you still have your hat on? Like,
because he was down there having his moment with Gabriella. Anytime he wants to be with her again, just strip down, come down to the pool. But he still had that hat on to remind all of us he's back. I think he's back.
I want to believe that he's back. I do think that's probably a takeaway from all this. Once again, them trying to plant the seed for a second season if they choose to do it.
Yeah, I think for me, it would have been even more effective, again, if he was the person that revealed everything, that maybe he got that taste for it again. But I think throughout the season, he has gotten that taste for it, and that's why the hat's back out.
I think overall this season, I'm really grateful we had it. Like, it's never a show that I expected we would get. Like, who's going to do a sequel to The Maltese Falcon, a movie that is like decades upon decades old?
Still amazing to this day. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely check it out.
Yeah, it's a great film, and this is, I think, a really worthy follow-up to it. Like, I think there was a lot of care that was put into all of it. Like, as chaotic and, messy at times that the ending was, that we both seem to feel that way, it does still feel like they got to make the story that they wanted to make, for better or for worse. And they got to tell all this, bring in all these different characters, play around with these ideas. And I'm really glad that they did. I really enjoyed this show. I hope it does well. Like, I hope that people out there actually get a chance to really discover it, because it's like, here's a Maltese Falcon follow-up that's airing on AMC, a network mostly known for zombies and or vampires. It's just like, I have no idea what the viewership for this is.
Speaking of zombies, we're going to be having the Rick and Michonne spinoff, The Ones Who Live. It's coming up very, very soon, and we are going to be covering that here as well.
Yeah, so we've clearly got a lot coming up with the AMC universe. I mean, they also announced Interview with the Vampires coming back in May. So
yeah, we love that show. It's good.
If you want to bring back Monsieur Spade, bring it back next year. It'll be fun.
Later this year. You can start working on it now.
He's just going to ship Clive Owen over there immediately. Find some more French actor.
I really enjoyed this show. It was really good. Yeah, I've got some mixed feelings about the finale, but that did not take away from this journey at all. The writing was great. The acting was great. There was a lot of that whole Jean-Pierre storyline was beautiful. 10 out of 10. I absolutely loved it.
With that, we must say au revoir to Monsieur Spade for now. We loved you. We're glad that you're here. But, we have so much more stuff coming here at the channel. We mentioned True Detective earlier in this video. So hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss any of that. Check out our most recent Monsieur Spade video. We've got that right on that card there. Also, thank you to our patrons for your support. You can join our Patreon by looking at the link in the description below, where we have all sorts of exclusive content. We will see you guys here next time.